Hi guys, it's Hannah. We brought out the Camp Half-Blood t-shirt again. So, of course, you know what time it is. It's time to review episodes 5 and 6 of the Percy Jackson series. So basically, I gave you guys all my thoughts. I reread The Lightning Thief and reviewed episodes 1 and 2. I also have a whole nother video of me reviewing episodes 3 and 4. Now it is time for episodes 5 and 6. I have my Percy Jackson shelf behind me. I will say, I think that this show is meant to be binged. I'm not really vibing with the whole one episode a week. I think it's one of those shows that just like has to be binged because everything kind of flows into one another and it feels like it's stopping at really weird points. It feels like there's not really a whole lot going on and they're rushing some parts. So maybe in that aspect, it is better as a movie. Does that mean the movie that came out was good? No. I think they're just really rushing it right now. And I think with what they have, it's more so a very cohesive and flowing plot that needs to be watched all together. That might just be me. Let me know your guys' thoughts in the comments. A lot has been changing. Rick Riordan has been taking it to Instagram to kind of explain a little bit of those changes sometimes. I saw this TikTok of this girl and she was talking about how if you were to write a book and it's getting adapted and you have the chance to change things that you've like sat on for like 10 years, there's obviously going to be things that you wanted to change, things that would flow better, things that just make more sense than what you had written for the time. So of course there's going to be things that are changed, and of course all of them were approved by Rick Riordan that we know of. This is kind of just me reviewing my thoughts on it, kind of just going over the differences and also just my thoughts in general about it. So let's get started with episode 5. So first off, we have Percy plunging to his death, and obviously Annabeth and Grover don't know that he's still alive. Annabeth just saying that she knows he's alive just warmed my little Percabeth heart so much. I love them so much. Their little hug was the cutest thing ever. They kind of are starting to get that little like embarrassment type vibe, which I wish was brought back for the Tunnel of Love. My question is, he's supposed to be like water repellent, so why is that not happening? I don't know, because he's supposed to not like get wet in the water. Like that was a whole thing. He had to like will himself to get wet. So I'm wondering if they just got rid of that entire plot point, because it kind of seems like it based on these 2 episodes. But the hug was the cutest thing ever. I absolutely adored it. I'm so happy they included that because it was so cute. It was so cute. Something that was also brought to my attention is that they use a lot of walking and talking to further the plot and explain what is going on. So it's a lot of the 3 of them literally just walking and talking about what the gods are, why they're acting like this, what their personal thoughts are on the whole situation. And I think a lot of that could be communicated different ways instead of being so repetitive, but alas, they are traveling, so it makes sense, but I wish they would have, I don't know, changed it a little bit more. Percy calling out Annabeth, being like, why are you being weird, was so funny. I really love the one-liners in this show. I think they're really entertaining, they're really fun, so I'm glad to keep like seeing those come out throughout the episodes. We really got introduced to Ares this episode, episode 5, and their heads just peeking up over the wall was the funniest shit ever. It was hilarious. I loved it. Finally, they bring up Gabe, who's been on the news. I feel like they really toned Gabe down in how mentally abusive he is to Percy, at least in the books. I don't know. They didn't really give him any substance. I feel like in the first episode, it was kind of just like he's just there. He's a little annoying, but like he's just there. He doesn't really show like how actually kind of abusive he is towards Percy and his mom, but they finally show that he's been talking to the news, so now people hopefully are going to be looking for them, because that was like a huge plot point. The entirety of America was looking for them. I think that'll hopefully be a little bit more and add a little bit more to the story like it did in the books. They also changed this bit where they didn't have Grover go with Percy and Annabeth to the Tunnel of Love, because he gets like whisked away like almost immediately by the flying shoes. He like has a plan or whatever and then he gets whisked away because the shoes take him away. They have Grover stay with Ares and talk, which honestly I really liked this change. We really got to see more of Aries, more of his thoughts and the dynamic. We also get to see Grover be a little bit more cunning and see more of his side, because Grover was honestly kind of just there some of the time in the book. He's Percy's best friend, but he also was just kind of there a lot of the time. He was being whisked away by these magic shoes and then just gone, you know? So I like that they actually gave him something to do to like actually make it interesting. Like, I loved their conversation. I wish that there was honestly more of it because I really liked it. However, Aries didn't really give the explanation that he was getting caught with Aphrodite in Hephaestus's amusement park. Like, the whole goal was that Hephaestus wanted to project them to all of Olympus, and that was like the whole thing. Like, they didn't want to be embarrassed by it. But they completely got rid of that. Now there's some golden magic throne that turns the person gold. I don't know what's going on there, but it was really cool CGI, not gonna lie, but we're not there yet. I really miss this embarrassing cameras type thing because I just think it really like showcases how young they are and how insecure they are in their relationships and them liking people. It's just like such a little middle schooler type thing that I just thought was really funny in the books, and it just like fits so well, but they got rid of it. The way that they made Percy and Annabeth discover that it was Aries and Aphrodite that were like being caught was they just realized it kind of out of the blue, to be honest with you. It just didn't really make that much sense. In the book it was explained by Aries, so I'm a little, I don't know, it was just a little bit, oh my god kind of vibe, if that makes sense. But we finally get to the Tunnel of Love, which was now called the Thrill Ride O Love. Kind of fun, kind of funky. I really liked this. I liked what they did with it. I think it's really cool. They literally start blasting What Is Love, and I thought it was hilarious. And I've talked a lot about how they use music in this show because a lot of the times it's distracting, sometimes it's better. A lot of the times it's distracting, and it honestly feels like they don't know their volumes or what they should include. I think What Is Love is one of those that aren't necessarily gonna take you out. However, their volume on it was a little much. I'm not gonna lie. It kind of made me distracted, along with like these amazing projections while they're having an insanely serious scene. I honestly didn't pay attention to because I was so distracted by the song being blasted and like these beautiful projections up and down the tunnel walls, which was gorgeous, like absolutely stunning. I'm so glad that they did that. Technically, they could have changed it a little bit and made it a little bit less distracting because Percy and Annabeth are having this like little moment together and it's kind of important. It's a deep talk. I just completely got distracted by it. And maybe that's just me, but I got completely distracted by it. So honestly, if they just toned down the music a little bit, it would have been better, but I don't know. The projections were awesome. They were super duper dynamic and really visually appealing. I loved them. I thought they were so interesting. This gold throne was so cool though. Like, I know that they changed it, but I honestly thought it was really cool. It really upped the stakes. I enjoyed it. Plus the CGI of it literally crawling up, it was so good. It was so beautiful. It was like beautiful, but also like scary because it's like literally freezing him to death basically. So we keep going back between this scene, this very high stakes scene, and also this scene with Aries and Grover, which I think is just such a fun parallel. I think it's really dynamic, really interesting, and it's honestly entertaining, the two of them together. It's really funny and I enjoy it a lot. One thing though with the Grover and Aries scene is that they're playing a lot with their camera angles now, and it sometimes feels like they want to experiment with it and like lean into like this more like artsy side of it, and then others it kind of just throws me off. Like, they literally have an angle from like right here, like the camera is right here, you can see their forehead and their eyes, and it's just like a really weird angle between Aries and Grover. And I think that if they added those more into like previous episodes and stuff, it wouldn't have been so jarring to me. I studied theater and photography, so I always like look for like different angles and like all that type of stuff. So I don't know. For me particularly, because I'm used to like looking at that stuff, I was jarred by it, but I do want them to experiment more because I think that they can do really cool stuff, really artsy stuff. Anywho, we get our first seaweed brain though, and then we get our first wise girl in the next episode, but we're not there yet. So I liked that there was much higher of stakes this time around with the gold throne and everything. I think that throne is really interesting, and I love how they show how Annabeth just wants desperately to figure it out. It reminds me of this scene in Teen Wolf. I'm a Teen Wolf diehard fan over here. Dylan Bryan, love of my life. Reminds me of that scene where Styles is trying to like figure it out with Lydia, and Lydia's caught in the bear trap and if she moves her foot, it'll clamp down on her, and they basically have to figure out how to disarm it. And Lydia's just like, you always figure it out. It just reminded me so much of that and how smart Annabeth is, because she's really trying to figure this out. Hephaestus, I think that's how you pronounce it, comes into the scene, and they have this really like heart-to-heart moment, because I feel like in the books we were really kind of just made to believe that the gods were just like these reality TV show stars. They're kind of just like there for entertainment. They don't have like actual real feelings. They're all just very heightened. Like they're all very, very heightened emotions. I don't know, we just don't really see this like kind of heart-to-heart moment, which I'm really glad that the show is bringing about, because I just think it's so much better and you get to really connect with them and really makes them like into like actual characters rather than just like these random beings that are there that they talk about all the time. I said Annabeth figuring shit out, queen, and then I said, oh, maybe not. Also, the way that Timothy Omenson is in this, Psych is my all-time favorite TV show. So when I saw that he was cast in the Percy series, I literally shit myself. Like, I was so excited. The two fandoms that really shaped me the most in my life were coming together, and it just made me so happy. I wish he was more on screen, to be honest with you. And it was such a sweet little scene. I really did enjoy it, and I'm really glad that they added that. I think it was really nice. Grover saying thank you for the emotional abuse and the cheeseburgers. I literally gasped. It was so out of the blue, but I loved it. It was so funny. It was so funny. Also, I think we forget that Grover's literally 24, because I know I forget all the time. Then they choose to cut off as we think we know who stole the Master Bolt, and then it's done. I've been watching these like 2 at a time because I've been busy, and also it's just like easier for me when I format these videos if I watch the 2 episodes I'm reviewing at the same time. So then we're done, and then we move on. I think this episode, I wish that they added just a little bit more substance to the Grover and Ares scene, because I really like that they added that in. It's totally different from the books, but I really loved it. I really loved the Hephaestus Annabeth scene. That little connecting moment was beautiful, and I really enjoyed that. I loved the CGI with the walls and the Tunnel of Love. I think that was beautiful. Once again, I think it was just cut a little too short. I think some of the scenes could have been elongated a little bit. But anywho, now we're gonna move on to episode 6. So we start off with Percy, Annabeth, and Grover. They are on the little circus traveling bus with the really bad people that are transporting all of these animals. They really took out the part that Percy can talk to horses. They completely got rid of that, which I honestly was a little bit sad about, not gonna lie. I kind of really enjoyed that. I just thought it was funny that he could randomly just hear like horses talking, because people forget that Poseidon is also the god of horses. I thought that was funny. I wish they included it. I think it would have been entertaining, but alas, they did not. They just had Grover kind of explain it off, which like makes sense. The way that they were recounting to Luke everything that they were doing, they were like, well, Sunday we did this, and then Monday was this. Wait, there was no monsters on Sunday. I thought that was really funny. I really enjoyed that. It really kind of just shows like how chaotic their lives are and how like into this they are and how they don't really even fully know what day it is. Also, Doja Cat, all of a sudden, I wrote in here, I don't think they realized that they can make the music lower and fade in and out, because it can be distracting. Once again, I talked about this before in other reviews, but I feel like when pop culture, like very popular songs are included, it can be fairly distracting, at least for me, because I notice what song it is. It's like a really popular song. It's fucking Levitating by Doja Cat. I think that can kind of just take us out of the story, but also what was odd to me was that they used that song when they went into the Lotus Casino, because that was this whole scene, which was so awesome. They changed a lot of it, and this music was just, they didn't fade into it very well. They didn't fade out of it. They had them speaking at normal tones while this like blasting music was occurring. So I think if they changed it just a little bit, it would have been a little bit more helpful, because then they got rid of the song in the next like shot, but it's supposed to be this loud casino that you literally just introduced with Levitating by Doja Cat. Like, it's supposed to be this like high pump up like area, like you're supposed to like literally lose yourself into it. You're not supposed to know like time is passing. But we got our first wise girl, which I love. They changed a lot in the casino. One thing was they're supposed to basically start playing games and like basically just get distracted with how much time is passing. Instead, they have Grover find Augustus, I think is his name, and he was on the search for Pan, but then he like gets Grover to go and like gets Grover distracted in that way. Ooh, Lin-Manuel Miranda as Hermes is back again. Mr. Hamilton himself, which was interesting that they added him in. I think what they're trying to do is I think they're trying to give more of the gods more time in the series, so they're not just kind of cameos, especially with such big names. But I do think it's like entertaining. Like, I think Lin-Manuel Miranda is entertaining, so I can't complain that much. It also explains a lot more of the beginning of Sea of Monsters, because I'm actually doing a Sea of Monsters reread right now. It's explaining a lot more of that, to be honest with you, because we start out and Hermes is helping Percy get to the Sea of Monsters. He like meets Percy on a beach and basically just like gives him a ticket out because they have this like really like dictator guy who's in charge of camp now and not letting them go on a quest even though they need to go get the golden fleece. But it really helps explain that because he just really cares about Luke and he really wants to be loved by Luke, even though Luke obviously betrays him. Luke hates him right now, betrays everyone. He just really wants to be a good dad, which is I just honestly really enjoy giving them more personality and love for their kids, because as of right now, like all that we really know is like the gods kind of just ditch their kids. The way that they had them driving a car, it was hilarious. I'm not gonna lie. So what they did instead in the book was they had them have a credit card from the Lotus Casino, and that was basically like had unlimited money on it. And so when Annabeth gets in the taxi, she's like, can we pay with this? We don't have cash. And he swipes it and it basically just like starts flaring him up. So anyways, they get a taxi all the way to Santa Monica. So they really fixed that scene, which is funny. The car scene was hilarious. I will give you that. It was absolutely hilarious. I'm honestly kind of glad that they added it in because it was just so funny watching him try to like drive a car. So this car transports and we find that Percy was trying to meet his dad. He misses it. Also, they passed the solstice, which did not happen in the book, so I'm a little confused on what's going on there. This, like, sea nymph gives Percy 4 pearls, which if you know from the books, he was given 3. So it was like a whole thing when they were in the underworld that they only had 3. So it was Grover, Percy, Annabeth, and Sally Jackson. Percy was kind of just like trying to sacrifice himself, and like it was this whole like battle debate type thing that was going on. Interested as to why they decided to do that, if they're just like getting rid of that and they're just like saving her and like making it easy, or what's going on there. Then they realized the release from the quest, which never happened before because they missed the solstice deadline. So now we're like, what the hell is supposed to be going on then? So basically, overall, they're changing a lot, but I'm still really enjoying it. I may be nitpicking it a lot, but these are honestly just like my initial thoughts. I'm enjoying it for the most part. I think some things could be worked on, but I honestly am enjoying this. I think it's fun. It's literally about like 12-year-olds, so it's mostly made for that, but also for us who have grown up with the series. It's just really good. Let me know your thoughts, especially on these last 2 episodes. We have 2 more to go. The finale comes out tomorrow as I'm filming this, so I'll be watching those 2 back to back. So I'll be making another video on that. So thank you guys so much for watching. Once again, these are all just my opinions. You don't have to agree with them, but they are mine, so don't come after me for them. But thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed, and I will see you in my next video. Bye guys.